Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is again alerting the public to take the necessary precautionary measures to prevent the spread of gastroenteritis and the norovirus, which is a highly contagious virus. The symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, fever, and body aches. The ministry says while the norovirus infections are usually mild and short-lived, they can cause severe dehydration in young children, the elderly, and individuals with weakened immune systems. The norovirus spreads easily through direct contact with an infected person, vomiting or diarrhea, consuming contaminated food or water, touching contaminated surfaces, touching the eyes, mouth, and nose with unwashed eyes. According to the ministry, for the period of March 2nd to the 22nd, 2025, 355 cases of gastroenteritis were reported over the threshold of normal. Of the cases reported, 8 tested positive for the norovirus. Testing of the norovirus requires a stool sample test or RT-PCR to confirm the presence of the virus by detecting the virus's DNA in its stool. The public is advised to visit their nearest healthcare provider and ask about testing for the virus if they experience 3 or more watery stool and vomiting within a 24-hour period. Given the easy transmission of the virus, the ministry urges all Vincentians to take the following precautionary measures. 1. Get tested for the norovirus. If you experience symptoms, visit your nearest healthcare center and ask about testing. 2. Wash hands frequently. 3. Practice proper food hygiene. 4. Disinfect surfaces regularly. 5. Avoid close contact if sick. 6. Hydrate and seek medical attention if necessary. And 7. Limit visitation to hospital and other patient settings. The ministry says it is actively monitoring the situation and working with healthcare facilities and communities to ensure a prompt response and effective treatment. Vincentians are encouraged to remain vigilant and follow these guidelines to protect themselves and their communities. Meanwhile, the ministry is advising the public that visitation at the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center has resumed. This follows a temporary suspension implemented in early March as a precautionary measure against the spread of a gastroenteritis type illness among the staff and patients suspected to be norovirus. It says to ensure the continued safety of patients, staff, and visitors, strict health protocols will continue to be enforced. These include, but are not limited to, the following. 1. Visitors who display signs and symptoms of infectious diseases will not be allowed to enter the facility. 2. Mandatory hand hygiene before and during visits at the facility. 3. Restricted time spent during visitation to minimize exposure risks. The ministry urges all visitors to comply with these measures to protect the well-being of staff and the many vulnerable individuals at the facility. Anyone experiencing symptoms of vomiting and/or diarrhea is asked to refrain from visiting the facility until fully recovered. The ministry says it will continue to monitor the situation closely and update the public accordingly. In other local news now, we hear that in commemoration of Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, observed annually in April, Minister of National Mobilization Kiesel Peters delivered an address today emphasizing the need to keep the issue at the forefront of national discourse.
It serves as a vital opportunity to highlight the ongoing challenges faced by too many children and families in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while reaffirming our commitment to creating a safer environment for all our children. This year, the Child Development Division has selected the theme, Children Are Our Priority. Protect them so their future becomes a reality. This theme highlights a fundamental truth. Every child has the right to live in a world where they are respected, protected, and safe.
Minister Peters highlighted that the protection and well-being of children must remain essential focus for all members of society.
Emphasizes the importance of families, communities, and institutions coming together to eliminate all forms of child abuse. Protecting children and ensuring their safety and well-being are paramount, not only for their future, but for the future of our society as a whole. Every decision and action we take must prioritize the best interests of our children, ensuring they grow up in a safe, nurturing environment that allows them to reach their full potential. There is never an excuse for violence against children, nor is there any justification for failing to report abuse. The scars of child abuse are deep, and they can last a lifetime. Children look to us to protect them, and they deserve love, respect, and the opportunity to thrive.
The minister further stressed that actions taken by parents and caregivers must always prioritize the best interests of children. Minister Peters also emphasized that safeguarding children is not solely the responsibility of parents. She said it is the duty of every Vincentian to ensure the safety of our children.
Today, I call on all of us to become more vigilant and aware of the signs of child abuse. Protecting children is not only the responsibility of parents, it is the responsibility of every member of our society. I urge all Vincentians to report any form of child abuse or neglect. If you see it, suspect it, or have concerns, it is your duty to report it. You can contact the Child Development Division within the ministry or the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force.
Minister Peters urged everyone to actively engage in raising awareness and showing support throughout the month, which will be punctuated by a series of activities, including a children's symposium, a Blue Friday campaign, a church service, and a whistle stop event to help to raise awareness about child abuse. Deputy Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for the North Windward constituency, Montgomery Daniel, announced that the Chateau National Park in Rabuka will undergo further development in the near future. Daniel, who was speaking at the Unity Labour Party's 24th anniversary celebration on Sunday, revealed that a comprehensive plan has been developed that will see several new structures erected within the park.
And we got a consultant to come in and help us to develop a plan. The funding was pretty difficult to obtain. But I want to say to you that I'm happy that this national park is now given the necessary attention since its inception. If you look around, you will see that a tremendous amount of work would have been done on this park. The kitchen is being worked on, to which we would have local foods produced. The vegetation inside here is being cleaned to accommodate benches and gazebos and other stalls that you can go and you can have local foods at any time.
Daniel added that an additional road will be constructed along with a documentation center, which would benefit the entire community.
If you look along the road where all the tents are, the plan is to make another row where you can have these front tents and some a little further inland, and to make that area a food court. Both locals and foreign tourists can come in and enjoy themselves. The documentation center, which will give you the history of Joseph Chateau and the history of this North Windward constituency, will get underway April 2nd, where we'll have staffing to begin that work. We need to know and to propel our history so that the youths can be aware as to where we are and where we came from. And so, while we
In 2009, Daniel was instrumental in getting cabinet approval to establish the national park in honor of this country's national hero, Joseph Chatouillet. And leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, Dr. Godwin Friday, continues to highlight a number of programs and projects his party plans to undertake if voted into office, including initiatives for farmers and fisherfolk. Last evening, as part of the party's community meetings, Dr. Friday and other party candidates were in Roseau in the East Kingston constituency. He told residents that better things are in the store for the people once his party forms the government.
The point is, we are putting forward a plan to make this country more productive, to bring back a time in this country when farmers can say, I can put my crops in the ground and I know that I will be able to reap and I can sell and I can earn to go back and do it again. We can't say that now.
find the market.
So, I want the farmers throughout this country to know that we hear you. And we are on the verge of better things to come in this country. Believe it. It will happen. We are on the verge of better things to come in this country.
Dr. Friday reiterated his commitment to greater involvement of the young people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who he said would have a more significant role in the future development of the country.
I want the young people. We have heard about them. We have heard from all the speakers here tonight about the promise that we have made to the young people of this country. And this is not a promise to be taken lightly. We have said to the young people that we hear you. We know that in a country where 6 out of 10, as Fitz has said, in this constituency can't find work. And those who find work, the work can't pay. We have heard you, and so we have put together a program. We call it our Youth Guarantee Pledge. And we have said to the young people, bring your frustrations, bring your hopes, bring your dreams for a better country. Put them together with ours as we put forward the plans to take St. Vincent and the Grenadines not just into the next year or into the next election, but into the future.
Last evening's meeting in Roseau marks a second time in recent weeks that a public meeting has been held in the East Kingston constituency. Member of Parliament for the constituency, Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble, maintained that little development has taken place in the area. He highlighted the roads which he said were only recently fixed after 2 decades of neglect.
And I know sometimes people say, but Bramble, you don't want to hear what Labour do, and you don't want to hear what them not do. But it behoves me tonight to highlight to you just a few of the shortcomings and neglect that they have meted out to this constituency. Look, right here where we are in Roseau tonight, standing on this bridge, it took them 24 years, 24 years in government to finally decide that Roseau deserved the road to be fixed down here and the bridge to be rehabilitated. 24 years!
Police here are investigating the circumstances surrounding a shooting incident that occurred in the vicinity of the Girls High School GHS bus stop at approximately 1:35 p.m. today. A release from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force says officers responded swiftly to reports of gunfire in the area and upon arrival discovered that a male has sustained gunshot injuries. The victim was transported to the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital where he is receiving medical medical treatment and is reported to be in stable condition. The SVG-PF says, thanks to the prompt response and coordinated effort of the officers on duty, the suspects were apprehended and relevant exhibits were collected. The police say the individuals taken into custody are cooperating with the police as investigations continue. The SVG-PF commends the officers involved for the professionalism and swift action in bringing the situation under control and ensuring public safety. Noting that this is an active investigation, the SVG-PF says further updates will be provided as more information becomes available. And in a continued effort to get illegal firearms off the streets, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the SVG-PF, says a joint operation was carried out at the residence of Michael Jackson, a 40-year-old farmer of Lomans Windward. The joint operation, which occurred around 4:45 p.m. on Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, involved the Rapid Response Unit, the RRU, and the Narcotics Unit. During the operation, the SVG-PF says Jackson was found in possession of one 12-gauge shotgun and 7 rounds of 12-gauge ammunition. He was subsequently arrested and appeared before the Serious Offences Court on March 24th, 2025, where he pleaded not guilty. Jackson was granted bail in the sum of $1,200 EC with one surety and must report to the Bible Police Station every Tuesday between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. The case has been adjourned to May 6, 2025. The police say notably this is not Jackson's first encounter with the law regarding illegal firearms. Previously, on September 18, 2024, Jackson was arrested during a stop and search operation in Lomans Windward after being found in possession of a Glock 9mm pistol and 13 rounds of ammunition. That matter is currently before the Serious Offences Court, and Jackson had been granted bail under strict reporting conditions. The SVG-PF emphasizes that illegal firearms pose a serious threat to public safety and stability, and issues another stern warning to those individuals who persist in possessing illegal firearms. It says, please take heed, the game of chance Europlane has increasingly unfavorable odds. Rest assured, the SVG-PF remains vigilant, dedicated, and ever ready. If you choose to gamble with the law, expect to lose. Your next mistake might lead directly into our waiting hands on court. The SVG-PF also continues to urge citizens to report suspicious activities involving firearms or criminal elements. In more police news now, we hear that motorists and other road users continue to ignore traffic laws. According to newly appointed Police Inspector Kenny Jones during an appearance on NBC Radio's Talk Your Talk program today, Inspector Jones highlighted that vehicle identification modification remains a significant issue the police have been trying to address for years. He stressed that the numbers on vehicle plates should be easily distinguishable, but this has continued to be a challenge for the traffic department.
It's not the first time the traffic department has been actually clamping down on the use of number plates, but we have sort of tried to tighten and put measures in place to ensure that persons comply, because we have seen persons maybe going far away from what the law says in terms of the specifications of these plates. The law is very clear when it talks about the number plate, and they say every letter and figure on that number plate should be easily distinguished. Excuse me. We've seen cases where it's very hard for you to recognize whether it is a number, whether it is a S or it is a 8, because these letters and figures are so tightly, they're so close together that as this vehicle go further away from you, it is hard for you to easily distinguish, as the law said, what are the letters and figures on the identification marks.
Inspector Jones further explained that modifying vehicles must always be done within the law, noting that compliance with regulation helps ensure safety and order on the roads.
Right. But what I want to clear, because we've heard persons say that the police are prosecuting them because they have lifted raise. We're not prosecuting because you have raised plate. Understand? Because as I said before, if you look back years ago, even the old metal plates, the letters and figures on those plates, they were raised. But they were very easily distinguished. You didn't have a difficulty recognizing whether it was a S or a 8 or a 6 or a 9. You understand me? So we want persons to understand that nothing is wrong with you lifting the raise. The double lifted is an issue because it takes away from the specifications.
Okay. But you can have a raise plate.
But you can have a raise plate.
Okay.
With the 5 inch thickness, the 3.5 inches. There are some issues with some vehicles because of the spacing on the back. Some stakeholders, you cannot go to 3.5 inches.
Right.
So we say to them that if you can't get the 3.5 inches, at least 3 inches in height. Understand me? We could accept that because the law also has a discretion and it provides for certain things. Understand? So I just want to clear the air and that the police, we are not prosecuting you for having a lifted number plate, but once it does not meet the specifications, then the police will prosecute.
The police inspector also emphasized that law enforcement is essential in addressing traffic-related offences, noting that without proper enforcement, the culture of disregard for the law will persist.
Decided to clamp down on these infractions because we've seen that it has becoming an issue. Persons are complaining sometimes when there's a collision on the road. You know, they give a number sometimes, and when you try to track or trace the number, you know, it's because sometimes a person from a glimpse find it difficult to recognize what this number was that might have struck them. And even the police sometimes has difficulty when a vehicle maybe failed to stop or it drives away from them as to what this number really is. So we have decided to tighten and put measures in place to ensure that persons comply with these regulations. We also had a meeting with stakeholders, persons who make these number plates, to ensure that they also understand what the law says in respect of the number plate, and we've seen some improvement.